Okay, so let's get into it. For the better part of a decade, there was really only one show that mattered. You know the one. It dominated literally everything. It wasn't just a TV show, it was this global, must-see event. But what we're going to talk about today is one of the most wild stories in modern television, the incredible rise and the unbelievably sudden fall of Game of Thrones.
No, I'm serious. Just think about it for a second. We were naming our kids Khaleesi. Winter is coming was a phrase everyone, and I mean everyone, understood. And then poof, it's like it just vanished. The show that was absolutely everywhere went completely quiet. How does that even happen? And the answer you'll see is a lot more complicated than just, oh, the ending was bad.
So, before we can even begin to understand the fall, we have to respect the climb. We need to go back and remember just how massive this show was. It wasn't just big, it was a genuine, world-changing juggernaut.
I always thought this was the perfect description. It's how you could explain it to anyone. See, it wasn't just for the fantasy crowd. This was for everybody. It had all the gritty, backstabbing political drama of a show like House of Cards, but it just so happened to have dragons and magic mixed in. What an incredible pitch.
So what was the magic formula? Well, for one, it looked like a giant Hollywood movie every single week. The casting was, come on, it was perfect. So many career-defining roles. But the real hook, the thing that got everyone, was that you truly never knew what would happen next. In a world where you always know the hero is safe, this show proved, famously, that absolutely no one was.
And of course, the awards came rolling in. Look at that number, 59. That's how many Emmy Awards it won. That is the most for any drama series in history. It basically single-handedly made the fantasy genre prestige television.
But the awards are one thing, the audience was something else entirely. By season 7, that number hit over 32 million viewers for a single episode. This was way more than a TV show. It was a global cultural event every single week.
Okay, so the show is on top of the world. It's an unstoppable force. How did it all start to go wrong? A titan like this doesn't just fall over. The cracks, well, they started to appear way before that final season.
This, right here, this is the big one. It's the root of the whole problem. The show was built on George R.R. Martin's incredible book series. But the showrunners, David Benioff and D.B. Weiss, were just moving way faster than Martin could write. And eventually, they ran out of map. They were on their own, with just a few scribbled notes about where to go next. And you can literally watch it happen on this timeline. After 2011, no new book, the show starts to drift, and then the Star Wars opportunity comes along. All of a sudden, the plan to finish the show properly gets thrown out the window in favor of 2 short, rushed final seasons. And that, right there, was a fatal decision.
And oh, did the audience notice. It became a running joke online, right? That characters suddenly learned how to teleport across the continent. The clever, sharp dialogue, gone. Characters we'd known for years started doing things that made no sense. The complex Game of Thrones was just gone, replaced with big, loud, empty battles.
But this is where the story takes a really fascinating turn. Because the bad ending wasn't really the problem. It was just a symptom of a much, much bigger issue. One that explains why the show didn't just end, but completely collapsed.
Think about it. Plenty of shows have had endings that fans didn't love, but they don't get erased from pop culture. Game of Thrones did, and that's because it wasn't about the quality drop. It was about the reason for the quality drop. It was the feeling that the creators just didn't care anymore, and that felt like a betrayal.
And then this quote. This is just unbelievable. It's from David Benioff himself, talking about their experience making the show. He called it the most expensive film school ever, basically admitting they were just learning on the job, using this global phenomenon as their personal practice run. And it just kept getting worse. In that same interview, they admitted they dumbed down the fantasy stuff to get more viewers, that they didn't want a writer's room, that they absolutely rushed the ending to go do Star Wars, and that they wouldn't let anyone else take over to finish it right. For fans, it was confirmation of their worst fears. It wasn't that their favorite creators had tried and failed, it was that they hadn't even really tried. This table just nails the entire argument. Take Star Wars or Harry Potter. You might hate the prequels, you might disagree with some of the new stuff, but you never feel like George Lucas or J.K. Rowling stopped caring about those worlds. Their intent was pure, even if the execution wasn't. But with Benioff and Weiss, the perception was just indifference. And that's the key. Fans will forgive you if you try your best and fail, but they won't forgive you if they think you didn't even bother to try. So where does that leave us? After this epic rise and this catastrophic collapse, what's actually left of the show's legacy? Well, today, Game of Thrones isn't compared to a masterpiece like Breaking Bad, a show people rewatch constantly. Instead, it's put in the same category as Lost. It was a huge deal when it was on, sure, but that ending just poisoned the whole well. Now, if someone asks if they should watch it, the answer comes with a huge warning label. And this is why it hurts so badly. This chart shows just how smart and invested the fans were. They knew this world inside and out so well that almost 40% of their predictions for the plot were basically right. They understood the rules of the world, so when the show's own writers started breaking those rules, it felt like a slap in the face. Of course, HBO is now trying to rebuild. We've got House of the Dragon, which has been a hit, though you can still feel the audience is a little hesitant, and there's more stuff on the way. You can't deny that Westeros is a world people want to visit, but the question is, can that trust ever be fully earned back? And that really is the ultimate question, isn't it? Can this universe ever get back to what it was? The story of Game of Thrones has become this massive cautionary tale. It's about the sacred promise between the people who tell the stories and the people who love them. And it proves that sometimes the most destructive force isn't dragonfire, it's apathy. It's a legacy not of triumph, but of what could and should have been.